What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive right into our first news. Jon Jones reveals why he picked Alex Pereira over Tom Aspinall, and the story behind it is a mix of legacy, strategy, and a bit of stubborn pride. On a recent podcast with Jeff Wu, Jon confirmed that he turned down a massive $30 million offer to fight Tom, and he finally explained why. According to Jon, he's not like every other fighter who steps into the cage just for a paycheck. If money was the only goal, he would have signed to fight Tom without thinking twice. But at this stage in his career, his goals are completely different. What Jon truly wants is to compete on the UFC White House card, and in his mind, the opponent doesn't matter nearly as much as the moment itself. Jon said it simply makes more sense for him to fight Alex because there's more footage available to study. His approach is strategic, not emotional. Even though Tom is the bigger guy, Jon believes both fights would end the same way if he managed to get them on the ground. To him, their grappling holes are clear, and he has confidence that the result wouldn't change regardless of which one stands across from him. Jon also pointed out that when he was 23 years old, he was already fighting the best in the world. Meanwhile, he's seen Tom around that same age, getting manhandled by fighters most fans don't even know. In Jon's view, he doesn't need Tom, especially after Tom's most recent performance. What stands out is Jon's perspective on legacy. He said you can fight the guy who's impressive right now, but a few years down the line, nobody may care. Or you can fight someone who will be remembered around the world for decades. And right now, in Brazil, Pereira is an absolute idol. Jon said Alex has that rare it factor, even joking that one of the only words Pereira says is trauma. Yet fans love it without even knowing what it means. That kind of star power attracts Jon far more than a short-term challenge. Jon also made it clear that fighting just for the sake of fighting doesn't make sense to him anymore. The only reason he's out of retirement is the White House card. But with Jon backing out of the Tom fight after telling Dana he would do it, there's now the lingering question of how Dana will react. For years, Dana has shown he holds grudges, and crossing him has never been wise for any fighter. Francis Ngannou is a perfect example, still dealing with the effects of disagreements from over 5 years ago. With a card full of big names all wanting their spot, Jon may have to wait and see whether Dana puts him on the card or leaves him off out of principle. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to support the channel. Moving on to another news, JDM's coach Ben Vickers has spoken out regarding the recent injury rumors surrounding his fighter. During an interview with Submission Radio, Vickers neither confirmed nor denied whether JDM went into the fight compromised. He made it clear that once a fighter commits to competing, nothing else matters. If something was wrong, they weren't going to reveal it, and if nothing was wrong, they still wouldn't confirm it. Vickers explained that when they decided to step into the cage, the entire team fully believed JDM could win. That was their mindset from start to finish. He emphasized that there would be no excuses made and no attempt to shift blame onto injuries or outside factors. According to him, the outcome came down to performance on the day of the fight, and they simply didn't do enough to get the job done. He wrapped up his comments by reinforcing that this is the nature of the sport. Fighters deal with things all the time, but once you choose to compete, you stand on your result. For Vickers and JDM, the focus now is on learning, improving, and moving forward without leaning on any rumors or speculation. Moving on to another news, Jon Jones has now doubled down on his belief that Tom Aspinall faked his eye injury in the fight against Cyril Gane. Jon clarified that, in his opinion, Tom didn't even grab the correct eye, pointing out that the eye which was actually poked under the eyelid wasn't the one Tom reacted to. According to Jon, it seemed like Tom was simply looking for a quick way out of the fight rather than trying to recover and continue. Jon explained that he had already been paying attention to Tom long before this incident. He mentioned the Curtis Blaydes fight, saying it looked like Blaydes came ready to beat Tom up that night. Then Tom threw a kick, suddenly went down, and the fight was over almost instantly. Jon said blowing a knee is blowing a knee, but even then, he would expect a fighter to at least try to stand or show some effort to keep fighting. To Jon, Tom checked out immediately, and that raised red flags. Then came the situation with Cyril Gane. Jon said when Tom got poked in the eye, he didn't behave like most fighters do in that moment. Usually, fighters try blinking, covering the affected eye, or asking the doctor to take a closer look. But when the doctor first came in, he reportedly said Tom seemed fine. Jon pointed out that Tom immediately insisted he couldn't see, and that he wasn't even trying to open his eye or regain his vision. Jon believes Tom didn't want to see. He just wanted the fight stopped. Jon also mentioned that when reviewing the footage, one finger clearly went under one eyelid, while the poke on the other eye was only on top of the lid. Yet Tom grabbed the eye that wasn't actually penetrated. To Jon, this showed Tom didn't even know which eye was supposed to be compromised. He simply reacted to the foul as an opportunity to get out of the fight. Jon said all of this, combined with Tom's previous reactions and performances, tells him a lot about what's behind the facade of Tom Aspinall's character. For Jon, these moments reveal a fighter who doesn't push through adversity and instead looks for exits when things get tough. Moving on to another news, the conversation around who will be Islam Makhachev's toughest fight continues to heat up, and the latest name being pushed to the front is Ilia. Right now, fans are debating whether Islam's most dangerous challenge is Ilia, with his elite striking and one-punch knockout power, or Shavkat Rakhmonov, who brings a clear size advantage and strong wrestling that could potentially neutralize Islam's grappling. But according to Colby Covington, the answer is simple. He believes Ilia is the toughest matchup for Islam. In his recent interview with Helen Ye, Colby broke down exactly why he feels this way. He said he wants to see the Ilia fight, and that fans everywhere want it just as much. For him, it doesn't matter if the matchup happens at welterweight or lightweight, the fight needs to happen because it would settle one of the biggest debates in the sport right now. Colby explained that Ilia's low center of gravity makes him a unique challenge. Being shorter than most of Islam's opponents means he's harder to take down and even harder to keep down. He praised Ilia's jiu-jitsu and said he could see him getting back to his feet frequently, which is crucial against someone like Islam. On top of that, Colby highlighted Ilia's power, calling him one of the biggest punchers the UFC has ever seen. He wrapped up his thoughts by saying he'd love to see Ilia get his hands on Islam and knock him out. With Ilia holding the featherweight title and Islam dominating at lightweight, the idea of these two meeting in the octagon has quickly become one of the most intriguing potential super fights in the UFC. Moving on to another news, Anderson Silva versus Tyron Woodley has officially been confirmed, and the announcement caught a lot of fans off guard this morning. The news comes directly from Most Valuable Promotions, who revealed that Silva and Woodley will be facing each other on the undercard of the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua Netflix event. This matchup will take place at cruiserweight, set at 195 pounds, and the fight is scheduled for December 19th. The confirmation puts two former UFC champions back into the spotlight, but this time in the boxing ring. Silva, who has already built an impressive second career in boxing with wins over notable opponents, will now share the ring with Woodley, who has also stepped into the boxing world in recent years. With both men having huge fan bases and long histories in combat sports, the matchup brings a mix of nostalgia, intrigue, and genuine curiosity about how they'll look at this stage of their careers. Most Valuable Promotions has been pushing big crossover fights, and adding Silva versus Woodley to such a massive card instantly adds more star power. With Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua headlining, this undercard bout will likely draw major attention from both boxing and MMA audiences. The timing, the names, and the platform make this a significant addition to the December event, setting the stage for a stacked night of combat sports entertainment. Moving on to another news, Daniel Cormier has weighed in on who he believes would give Islam Makhachev the toughest challenge inside the octagon. According to DC, Shavkat is the one fighter who brings a combination of size, strength, and fight IQ that could push Islam more than anyone else has. Daniel explained that when you look at Shavkat's frame, his reach, and the way he mixes his striking with his grappling, it becomes clear why he stands out as a real threat. DC broke it down by saying that the size of Shavkat alone creates problems for anyone at welterweight, but paired with his strong wrestling base, it becomes an even bigger obstacle. He added that Shavkat's striking is sharp, disciplined, and extremely dangerous, making him a complete fighter who doesn't rely on just one path to victory. Daniel also pointed out that if Islam ever moves up again and faces Shavkat, that matchup could easily become the hardest fight of Islam's entire career. He mentioned how Shavkat's ability to dictate distance, defend takedowns, and create his own grappling exchanges could push Islam into deep waters. Overall, Cormier believes that while many contenders bring interesting challenges, Shavkat is the one who checks every box when it comes to giving Islam a truly difficult night. Moving on to another news, Venom has accidentally revealed Conor's custom UFC shorts for the upcoming White House event. A user on X, going by the name Red Wolf MMA, first came across these shorts back in September. At the time, the leak reportedly happened only in Germany, and although the user tweeted about it, most people didn't take it seriously, so the story never caught traction. But now, things have changed. The UFC's official Venom store has showcased those exact same Conor shorts, making the leak official. Yesterday, fans finally got a full look at Conor's custom UFC White House fight shorts. The design features dollar bills printed across the fabric, mixed with the flag of Ireland, giving the shorts a flashy and unmistakably Conor style. It's the type of reveal that instantly gets fans buzzing, especially considering the significance of this historic White House card. And continuing with Conor-related updates, it seems he's taking his return more seriously than some expected. Many people noticed that Conor has officially deactivated his Instagram account. After years of unpredictable social media activity, seeing him completely disappear from such a massive platform has sparked a lot of speculation. Some believe he's locking in and staying focused on his training. Others think it's part of Conor's usual mind games, building mystery and hype ahead of a major fight announcement. Regardless of the reason, Conor stepping away from Instagram while his custom shorts get revealed on the same day makes the timing especially interesting. With the White House event approaching and the UFC ramping up promotion, all signs point toward Conor preparing for something big. Moving on to another news, Renato Moicano has shared his thoughts on JDM's heartbreaking performance at UFC 322, and he admits he genuinely feels sorry for him. Speaking on the latest episode of the Show Me the Money podcast, Moicano reflected on how brutal it must have been for JDM, noting that even a world-class welterweight with a full training camp struggled to mount any offense against Islam Makhachev. Moicano's assessment was brutally honest, highlighting how mentally drained JDM appeared during the fight, even suggesting he looked close to tears in the later rounds. Moicano explained that expecting anyone to step in and beat Islam on short notice is nearly impossible. Jack Della Madalena, welterweight champion, months of training, and they want me to go in and beat Islam on one day's notice? That's impossible, he said. He went on to describe how dangerous Islam is on the ground, noting that giving him even a little space could result in a submission. Moicano said the best a fighter can do is survive the round, but fatigue inevitably sets in, making things even tougher in subsequent rounds. He added that by the fifth round, JDM looked mentally defeated, visibly frustrated, and even appeared to be crying out of sheer disappointment. Moicano emphasized that this is a testament to how good Islam is and how strong Khabib's camp has been in preparing him. Just defeated mentally, Moicano said, underlining the level of dominance displayed by Islam. He concluded by acknowledging Islam's achievements as a double champion and praising the effectiveness of Khabib's coaching and strategy. The interview paints a stark picture of the challenge fighters face against Islam, showing how even elite athletes can be overwhelmed by his skill, focus, and relentless pressure inside the octagon. Moving on to another news, Paddy, Pimblett, and Ilia ran into each other at UFC Qatar, creating yet another tense moment inside the fighter hotel. Recently, we reported that several fighters, including Arman, Ilia, and Paddy, were all staying at the same hotel in Qatar. Just days ago, Arman and Ilia nearly crossed paths while getting on and off the elevators. Now it looks like we have a similar situation, but this time between Paddy and Ilia. During the weigh-ins this morning, new footage surfaced online showing the two interacting. It began with Paddy approaching in a casual tone, saying, "What's happening? Everything all right?" Ilia immediately fired back with a sharp comment, clearly not in the mood for small talk. Paddy quickly responded by telling Ilia to calm down, trying to de-escalate the moment before anything heated kicked off. The brief exchange was captured and shared on X by Alvaro Comenro. In the clip, you can hear Paddy saying, "What's up, bro?" and Ilia replying with a cold, short response. Paddy tries again to lighten the mood, but the tension is obvious. Seconds later, you hear him say, "Calm down," as Ilia keeps the same confrontational energy. Eventually, both seem to back off, and someone nearby steps in with, Okay, let's just leave it," which brings the moment to an end. Despite the friction, nothing escalated beyond verbal jabs. UFC security has been extremely alert throughout the event, making sure fighters like Arman, Ilia, Paddy, and others don't get too close or create unnecessary drama before fight night. Their presence has kept everything under control, preventing any real conflicts from breaking out. Moving on to another news, Khamzat has revealed some unfortunate updates regarding his health, and it has fans worried about his return timeline. After his dominant performance against Du Plessis back in August, the champion made it clear in his post-fight interview that he wanted a quick turnaround. He sounded motivated, hungry, and ready to jump back into the cage as soon as possible. But ever since that night, all we've seen are delays and silence surrounding his comeback. During a recent interview with Adam Zubarev, it was finally confirmed that Khamzat will be out until after Ramadan next year, which falls around the middle of March. According to Khamzat, he needs to undergo a small operation on his foot. He explained that he'll be stepping away from training for a couple of weeks so he can fully heal the wound. Once Ramadan is over, he plans to restart his camp and take on whoever the UFC puts in front of him. He didn't make any demands, didn't call anyone out, just kept it simple. Whoever they give me, that's who we'll face. This situation makes the middleweight division even more interesting because contenders are moving, opportunities are shifting, and the champion is temporarily sidelined. Fans were hoping to see Khamzat defend his belt sooner, but it looks like they'll have to wait until next year. As the conversation continued, Khamzat was also asked about a potential altercation in Qatar involving Arman and Ilia. With tensions rising between fighters, the interviewer wanted to know if Khamzat would step in. Surprisingly, Khamzat said he would let Arman and Ilia handle their issues one-on-one. He believes in letting fighters settle their problems themselves. But he made one thing very clear. If anyone else tried to jump in or escalate the situation, they would have to deal with him. In his words, they'll fight each other one-on-one. We will beat the ones who will try to jump in. His response shows the same fierce loyalty and intensity he's known for, even while recovering from an injury. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for your daily dose of MMA news.